What is up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be going over what you need to know about Fortnite's new update, which actually added a lot of content. This is one of the bigger mid-season updates we've ever had. As always, if you guys do enjoy this video, find it helpful, informative, or interesting, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you like to see more, comment down below what you think of this update, and if you would like to use my code in the item shop when getting anything, it is just EvolveJake, and it is underneath the webcam at all times. So in this update, we got 2 new hero abilities and 2 new game modes, as well as some other minor changes. The 2 new hero abilities are going to be the Poms and Myst form. And these items you can get out of the hero crates. They spawn in the hero item spawners, which makes it harder to actually get the hero items you want. And I believe they can spawn in regular chests as well. The Poms are going to be this season's like melee item, unfortunately. This will transform you into a beast form. And as this beast form, you have unlimited stamina and you have an improved jump as well. You have a melee attack and a dive attack that you can use to dive from the air onto enemies. And I believe you do like an area of effect damage attack when doing this dive. And one thing that really separates this from other melee weapons, it sounds really busted. And I know a lot of people were seeing this and they were like, this is going to be incredibly overpowered. I am an absolute melee weapon hater. I am very biased, but I actually didn't mind it that much today while playing. Obviously, my opinion could change. This is only one day. But as the beast takes damage, the item is diminished until it's eventually destroyed and the player turns back into a human. They can opt to turn back into a human if they want to regardless. But either way, it only gets so much use from the course of the game, because as the player uses the beast form, they're probably going to take a good amount of damage trying to melee people, right? And so there might be times where you run into someone that's a full health beast and it's like kind of a struggle to deal with them and they're very healthy, but you also will have times where you run into someone who's like a third HP or like half HP and you'll deal with them really quickly. For people that are just like kind of panicking and using this as their main way to play the game, I think it's going to be way less effective than like what the kneecapper bat was or the typhoon blade was. I also think it's very avoidable because of the amount of mobility we have in the game right now. We have dashes, we have shockwave grenades, we have the base boost gloves, which not only can you use as mobility, but you can knock other players back with it. So even as someone who's very anti-melee weapon existing in the game, this didn't annoy me as much as other melee weapons did. And I know a lot of people see this and like, what the heck, that's going to be really overpowered. I actually didn't mind it that much. Another thing that sounds really overpowered that I was not excited to see added to the game is going to be the Myst form. This transforms you into a bat where you can fly around for a bit, and you're also invincible when you're in bat form. And I saw this and thought like, this is going to be one of the more annoying items for people just to like panic, run away from fights when they're losing. It does have a cooldown after being used, and it only has 10 uses per item. And as I said, I was expecting this to be very irritating to me personally, and I actually didn't mind it that much either. The amount of distance somebody could create using this actually wasn't that much, and with the base boost gloves in the game, I was usually able to easily chase them or keep up with them at the base boost gloves. And if they were someone who I had really weak, I could just easily clean that kill up once they, exit the form. It'll definitely have its uses in times where it's like incredibly good. As a mobility item, it's not personally my favorite, but it's better than not having any mobility at all. And it can be helpful for getting into like a very specific spot. If you want to like get onto a roof of a building, transform into a bat, fly up there, it's going to be a bit easier than using something like the base boost gloves or shockwaves. But as I said, I thought this was going to be like a very overpowered like crutch item for people to just like reset fights whenever they want, and it didn't really seem that way. And I think a lot of that just has to do with how much mobility we have in the game right now. If you could use the base boost gloves well, I don't think you're going to have any problem keeping up with this item. It also can be combined with the Myst gloves to be like the ascendant Myst form, and what this does is I think increases the damage from the Myst gloves to 18, but it doesn't make it so you can do damage while in that invulnerable bat form. That doesn't change. So I thought that sounded really busted and you'd be able to do damage while invincible. It doesn't seem to be the case. It's just like an upgrade for the gloves. And it does still take 2 inventory slots, so I don't really know if it's worth it. The base boost gloves also got a slight improvement in this update, in that the mythic version is in the general loot pool. This has been in the game since the season started, but it was just like a chance to spawn in the A room of the Supernova Academy, and you could buy it for 1,000 gold. Now the mythic gloves will spawn in A tier crates and S tier crates, and the mythic difference is that it has 4 uses. So the blue gloves have 2 uses at a time, the purple ones have 3, and then the mythic ones have 4. And obviously this is just going to make the item better for mobility, better for pushing people, better for resetting fights, better for traveling. It's very good, and I think part of why I didn't mind dealing with either the melee weapon or the bat thing as much is because with these mythic gloves, you just have so much more mobility to either chase that person or to get away from the melee user and then damage them, you know, while you're safe. So these mythic gloves are nice. You get them out of A tier crates and S tier crates. Unfortunately, these are not guaranteed to spawn out of those crates though, because the Myst form also has a chance to spawn. Prior to today's update, if you eliminated a Spire, or you open an A tier crate, or you open an S tier crate, you were guaranteed purple base boost gloves from those activities. But now, since the Myst form has a chance to spawn, those are no longer guaranteed base boost gloves, which is unfortunate for me. That's probably my least favorite thing about this update. The bunkers around the map have actually opened, or some of them have opened up, and these don't have weapon benches in them like Chapter 5. They have hero crates and items to purchase on the wall. And then they also have a room inside that requires you to be A tier to open, which I believe has an A tier crate, an S tier crate, and then more items that you can purchase off the wall. If you've been in those extra rooms at Supernova Academy, it's similar to that. And then these rooms also seem to have infinite rifts in them as well, like a rift that spawns that you can use to leave that doesn't despawn. So you don't have to worry about people like camping on top anymore. And then you also don't really have to worry about people camping at the bottom anymore, because the scanner device is in the game. So you can just quickly scan the area and see if anyone's camping down there and then play accordingly. I wasn't a huge fan of the bunkers in Chapter 5 because I felt like it always created like a weird cat and mouse game when it came to like getting in or getting out of the bunker. But that really doesn't seem to be as much of a problem, or at least is avoidable in some ways this season. And they're also just not as mandatory because it's just extra loot. It's not like you need to go in here to get attachments or anything. If you want extra loot, you can go down there and get it. If you don't want to deal with it, you don't have to deal with it. So that is what's inside the bunkers. The base boost gloves no longer have the ability to hit through shield bubbles, and I actually found this out in a very awkward way. I was recording a video for the Unranked to Unreal series, and the final player I was just trying to knock out of their bubble for so long, and I thought I was missing, but it turns out the base boost gloves no longer hit through shield bubbles, so that is a good thing. Robin's Bat Grappler now has 40 uses for the player who purchases it. So if you're the one to buy the grappler from him, you'll have 40 uses. If you eliminate someone, it'll have 20. So if you eliminate somebody, it always drops with 20. If you're the one who buy it, it drops with 40. I don't know if this is intentional or not, but that is the way it is currently working as of the time I'm recording this. And then the next thing we have in this update is going to be 2 new game modes. So we have Blitz Royale and then a new training game mode. Blitz Royale is a mini BR mode with 32 players on a segmented portion of a reload map. So it has only 3 POIs and it's very small, and there's only 32 players. There's no respawning or anything. And not all of these players are actually human. There are AI in this mode, and matches are incredibly short at about only 5 minutes long. Each player starts off with a random medallion, and as you get eliminations, you level up and unlock more boons, exotic weapons, and even mythic weapons for yourself. It just like goes straight into your inventory or will drop on the ground if your inventory is full. And so you are somewhat rewarded for getting eliminations. And the loot pool in this mode kind of consists of many different weapons from Fortnite's past. It's not like all current weapons. It's not all old weapons. It's like a mix of a lot of different, versions of Fortnite items, but there are a lot of Chapter 6 items in here, like the Sentinel Pump, the Twin Fire Auto Shotgun, the Fury AR, the Collateral Damage AR, and the Spire AR. As I said, matches go by very quickly, and this mode is kind of targeted for mobile players, but anybody can play it. There seems to be a lot of confusion about this. Regardless of what platform you play on, you can play the new Blitz Royale mode. It's just mobile players were the primary demographic for this. With the very short matches, if somebody's playing on their phone to kill time between like whatever they're doing, they might not have 20 minutes to invest into a full BR match, but 5 minutes in this mode makes a lot more sense. And then same with the much smaller scale maps, smaller players, it's something that's going to run better on mobile probably. One interesting thing about this mode is that crown wins actually do count, and I've seen a lot of players upset that crowns count in this mode. I don't really mind it personally. I don't think crown wins are such like a prestigious thing that needs to be like preserved and, you know, be important. I don't think crown wins have been really a big deal ever, but especially for a long time, there's a lot of players who just abuse bot lobbies to farm a bunch of crowns. And then even once Reload came out, that was a much more efficient way to get crowns than playing regular BR. So I haven't thought crowns were relevant in years, and so I don't really mind that. Overall, I think this mode is fine, but I don't really care for it, and I don't see myself playing it. And I'm not the target demographic for this mode, which is fine. A lot of players in the Fortnite community, like, hyper analyze every mode for some reason, and if it's not for them personally, they think it's like a terrible addition to the game. I don't really care. For me personally, I have no life, so I usually have much more than 5 minutes to play the game, and if I for some reason only had 5 minutes before I had to like leave or do something, I'd probably rather just not be playing a game at all and watch like YouTube videos or scroll social media or something. So I'm not the target demographic for this mode, but I think it will be very good for people who have, you know, busy lives or just literally mobile players that don't have, you know, as much time to play. So I think this mode is a good thing, but I don't really see myself playing it. And then I kind of feel the same way about the other mode as well. Team Rumble was removed and replaced with a new like training mode, which is like a deathmatch in Utopia City. I think this has a mix of players and bots, and it is zero build, and it's just like meant to be like a deathmatch where you can fight other players. I've seen some people say like happy that this got added because they can finally practice, but creative matches and creative modes that do basically the same thing have existed for many years. So to me personally, again, it's not that relevant of an addition because you could already do this in creative, and I think creative maps would be better and have better players and therefore be better worthwhile practice. But either way, if people enjoy it, good for them. But that is going to be it for this video. As always, if you guys did find this to be helpful, informative, or interesting, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.